Hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to see you all here. It's really just wonderful to have these events, and it's something that I always look forward to every single week. If this is your first time joining a VC Lab event and you haven't met me or Travis or other folks in our team, my name is Mike Supervici. I'm the head of acceleration here at Desall Group. I'm also joined here by Travis, who is head of product. We'll briefly introduce ourselves in a second, but just really quickly before I do, if this is your first time joining us, we're here from a company called Desall Group. Desall Group's entire objective and mission is to sort of clear the way and help new and emerging managers thrive and build these very impactful next generation enduring venture capital firms. And we do this in a number of different ways. We have an accelerator called VC Lab. VC Lab has more or less become the way that most new and emerging managers are starting their funds, and it's a closing accelerator. We have a back office offering called Desall Partners that helps new and emerging managers really become very institutional grade. We have a tool system called Decile Hub, which we're going to show you today, that we're like showing to the public for sort of like the first time today. We're going to spend all this call on this, and we also have a fund of funds that sort of invests as well. So we're sort of kind of completing the entire like ecosystem, and we always build stuff based on what our community is asking, right? We don't build stuff for people. We build stuff with our community, including Desall Hub, which I'm super, super excited to sort of show you as well today. Please introduce yourself in the chat. There's a chat on the right-hand side. Say hello, say your name. Just really quick before you do though, hold on, listen up before you do. Don't mention what your thesis is on your fund, okay? This is a public webinar. That could be a general solicitation risk. So just say, hey, my name is, Amy. Here's my LinkedIn, that kind of stuff, right? But if you don't do that, if we see people doing that kind of stuff, we're just going to delete your message and warn you and stuff, but don't do that kind of stuff, okay? So that's that. If you have questions for myself and for Travis, there's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. You can put questions in there. You can upvote those questions. You can ask follow-up questions. We're going to be monitoring that as well. So just be sort of ready for that, because we're really excited to sort of do that. So really briefly about myself, then I'm going to have Travis introduce himself, and then we're going to get to the demo. And then what we're going to do is make this super interactive. I want to have all your questions about the OS and all the stuff that we're about to talk about. So briefly about myself, to this point, I think I've helped hundreds of managers launch and operate their firms. Before doing that, myself and Adil had raised 8 funds together. So just like lots of experience in helping new and emerging managers scale. I run the accelerator, a lot of all the fund operations team as well, and also, of course, on the Desall Capital side. So love to share my knowledge about what we do and how we do things, if you have questions about strategy or something as well. Travis?
Hey, everybody. Super happy to be here. I was an early employee at a couple of startups that went on to become unicorns, also founded some companies that we sold. And I was more or less retired until Mike came and said, there's no bigger impact you could make than joining this company, because every time that we launch a new fund, we're creating opportunity in a brand new area, new part of the world where venture didn't exist before. And it's the most fulfilling job I've ever had. I can't wait to show you Hub and the things that we're doing to help people launch funds all over the world.
Yeah, it's so true, man. It's so true. So much impact. Like the next generation's venture capitalists are going to have such a huge impact on the future of humanity, and it's going to happen globally and at scale in so many different ways. So, all right, everyone, let me show you Hub. Okay, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you sort of like the life cycle of a VC firm. Okay, and I'm going to show it to you through a product, to the product that we've developed. And hopefully, even if you're not like using Hub or something like this, maybe it can sort of at least give you some context about how you should think about building the operations of your firm, okay? Because all these different things that we've built are things that every sort of venture capital firm needs in order to sort of operate professionally and at scale. Okay. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here really quick. And I'll go ahead and show you the product. Okay. Awesome. So this is Desall Hub. Okay. Desall Hub is, think of it sort of like a vertical SaaS to manage your entire venture capital firm. And it can do everything that you need in order to run your firm. Okay. You can manage all of your LPs, which is what you see here on the left-hand side with regards to the fundraising session. We'll talk about that in all your entire investor relations with your LPs. You're going to mention, you can manage all of your deal flow, all of your companies, all that. And I'm going to show you how we sort of do that. Your entire back office and fund admin operation, that's all integrated into one place. And there's a whole bunch of other super cool features that we might not have time to go over this. Full on like data rooms, all of your events are in one place. So rather than you sort of cobbling together this stack with like Notion plus Eventbrite plus Airtable plus Gmail plus insert 50 other tools, which is sort of how typically most of these firms, most of our alumni were doing this, right? And so we ended up saying like, this is crazy. Like, you need to have everything in one place. That way it's safer for everybody, it's more secure for everybody, and then you're not missing information as you're sort of moving things through like a Zapier integration that may or may not work at all times, okay? So this is sort of what this product does. It kind of does everything end to end. So why don't we just go ahead and work through the life cycle of a venture capital firm, right? So let's say you're just starting out, okay? When you're first starting out, and by the way, if you're on this call, and you are just starting out and you haven't started your firm, please do not waste your time talking to back office vendors. Please do not waste your time talking to lawyers. Okay, that's the last thing that you do. So for the founders on the call, that I know that's weird because generally when you started a company, you're like, I'm going to incorporate and go. With funds is the exact opposite. That's the last thing you do. The first thing you do is you go out and start talking to LPs about your thesis, about what you're up to, and about how you're going to build out your fund and things like this. So, and you're going to talk to lots of them, right? I mean, for those of you that have raised money for a company, fundraising for a fund is significantly more challenging. So you're going to talk to hundreds and hundreds of LPs. And that's why you need a full-blown sort of like CRM that's purpose-built for you. And that's what we've developed here. And so this is kind of what you see here as well, all right? You're going to start talking to some LPs. Some LPs are going to tell you, hey, I'm in, right? And so then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to send them something that's called a pact, okay? So I'm going to just really quickly show you what a pact is, okay? So a pact is a way for you to sort of get a hard circled commitment. So for an LP, comes in, LP says, I'm in for like $100,000, and this is like a beautiful landing page that we've developed. And they can come in, they can come in, sign up, get you their name, get you their info and all this other stuff. So you know that they're real. Because when you're out there fundraising, you're going to have a lot of people tell you, I'm in, I'm in, I'm in, I'm in. And most of the time they're not in, and you're going to be wasting an enormous amount of time for them. So you're going to go ahead and do this. You're going to get them to sign something. And automatically, once someone is in, they're going to end up in one of these stages here. For example, here's in the send pack page, you're going to move over people to closing and things like that. So everything's sort of going to be like integrated into one place as soon as somebody basically signs a pack. That way there's no interconnection between various different things. Okay, out of the box, this system, okay, comes in with a set of stages, so you can like customize this to however you sort of see fit. But basically, the entire sort of funnel of a fundraising process, right, is built in here for you. You can automate things like, for example, as soon as you move somebody to this stage, you can see this little automation here. It can like actually send an email, right? And this is going to be like the email here. It comes out of the box with like templated emails and things like this for you, as you can sort of see here. So you kind of like, we've been working through this process end to end. You can automate things. So for example, like on this one here, like if somebody clicks this URL, I can automatically move them to like a different stage or all this other stuff, right? So all of it is sort of built in, kind of end to end, fully integrated. You can literally automate the process where you drop an LP into one stage and you can go all the way through close. Everything's super integrated, okay? So that's really briefly about sort of how you sort of prospect LPs, how you sort of close LPs. And I can go into deeper details as you have more questions about that. But as a general rule, that's how these things work. I don't know, Travis, is there any other comments or anything that you'd like to sort of add about this before I sort of move on to like deal flow and other cool things?
I would say that the grand majority of people in the early days of using Hub work out of these sets of tools. They're using this to raise money, and they're using this to get PACs commitments for their fund when they're getting ready for a close. The stages are already pre-configured for you for the most generic version of a fundraising process, but it's very flexible, and you can add stages, add tasks, remove stuff, automate it as you wish. And so people use this just like a CRM in lots of different ways.
Correct. And you can sort of super customize the pack however you want, like this landing page that we have, you do all sorts of content stuff, even the agreement, like everything in here is fully customizable and sort of built in into the process for you. Okay. All right. Awesome. So you go out and you go out and get, let's say, over 1 to 2 million in packs, and now you're sort of ready to start a close. You would use the same process, except all of the legal docs are basically built in, especially if you work with us on their back office. You send these to your LPs, they sign them in a similar way that you sort of saw here with like the pact here, right? And boom, now they're all of a sudden into your fund, and you can go ahead and close them. And then you're going to see them here, into your capital accounts. Okay, so this is your back office, right? You're going to be able to see your entire capital accounts here. These are all the people that have sort of signed up. You can see exactly how much, each of them has come in for. You can send a capital call. Okay, this is super cool. I'm going to close this one out, and go ahead and start a new one here really soon. You can start a capital call, okay, here, and it automatically figures out exactly how much you want to do. So you want to do 10%? Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do 10% here. Okay, like, or whatever the number ends up being. You see 10, right? And then what it does is that it automatically generates this for every single person, and boom, you can start this capital call, and then here we are, right? Like you automatically send them, and you're going to be able to sort of get the money kind of built into this. This is like sort of like nirvana for those of you that are actually operating, because it's super hard to do capital calls, in case you all of them don't know. In addition to that, every single one of your LPs, right, is going to have a full-on sort of kind of secure portal, okay, where they can sort of have this information, and you can see that there's a capital call that's due, like end to end, all the way through, right, to the subscription, all of your documents, all of your reports, like everything sort of built in here for limited partners as well, so that you're not sending these out over emails, like none of this stuff. Okay, so it's fully integrated, and then of course you can see like your entire back office and how things are going, the entire like overview of how it's performing and everything end to end. Okay, so cool. You did like the first close. Okay, now you've got some money, right? Now you're going to make some investments, right? Like that's sort of like the next logical step. So you did the first close, money's in the bank account, and you're going to do some investments, right? And investments are sort of run the same way. Okay, there's like a pipeline, right? There's you can actually go in and like move people through your process. These are just as customizable as the LP information as well. And then you've got full-on deal memo, okay, capabilities built into the fund, right? So for example, we're going to go ahead and do like an initial deal memo for this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and start creating one. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a rating here. And then like, check this out, like it's purpose built for you, right? Full on deal memo capabilities, right? You're going to see kind of an overview here. Okay. You can go in and sort of rate, let's go ahead and rate this company here. And you can customize every single one of these fields. Okay. This is just like demo stuff, but maybe for you, like, you're a heavy IP based kind of fund, for example, maybe you have something here IP related, and you can sort of do that and go ahead and build this out, right? And so all of this stuff is sort of built in. You can attach various things like, the cap table and all this other stuff that you normally would, right? And it automatically, you can export and share this, and automatically, right, you can basically, put this deal memo into your data room. So if you need to sort of pass institutional DD, it's already all built in. One other really cool feature, this is generally right now for Desall partners, so folks that are working with us on the back office as well. When you actually submit a deal for review, the back office team, the partners team actually looks at all of your deals, red lines them against kind of market and things like that. So you sort of know what you're sort of getting into beforehand. And so that adds another layer of check, and it's super valuable. It saves like 90% of time for a lot of people, okay? So all of this super built in into the process, end to end, fully integrated, okay? So, then you go in, you sort of wire the money into a company, right? And now all of a sudden, all of this information gets transferred over into the back office again. Like, see what I'm doing here? It's like fully integrated. All of your companies are in here. You start tracking all the companies. You update valuations, right? As you get, you add funding rounds, all the stuff that you sort of get in here. It has all the security types, right? Everything that you sort of need kind of gets built in here, and then all of a sudden everything's sort of integrated end to end for accounting, for fund admin to sort of do all of your reporting. I'm going to stop right here really quick. Travis, is there any comments, any thoughts, anything you'd like to sort of share with folks?
You're doing a great job, Mike. I have nothing to
Oh,
add.
thanks. I see there's some stuff coming into the chat, everyone. We're only answering questions into the Q&A. There's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. We just can't follow the chat as well. So just add questions into the Q&A, and then I'm going to go ahead and sort of answer this for you, okay? And, so end to end, everything's super integrated, right? But the coolest thing out, in my opinion, about this is Decile Base, right? Decile Base is fully integrated AI in here. And so if you sort of don't know, like what you don't know, like how much capital, how much should my first capital call be, right? It can start answering questions for you because we've been training this AI on thousands and thousands of questions that we've been, like answering over and over and over again, right? And so this entire AI is a lot less likely to sort of hallucinate like you would with like a chat GPT or something like this. And the reason for that is because we're only having it work off of information that we've provided, and we've cleared all of those answers. Okay. And so this is an example of this, right? Like, we know kind of what you should be thinking about. And so this is how it's done, right? And there's all sorts of cool stuff that it can do as well. So for example, like, like I put in here, I'm asking it to sort of like, build a newsletter template for me, and so, oops, that's, right? It can like build newsletter templates for you, right? It could, you can put put an entire email in there and say, hey, LP said this to me. How do I respond to this email? Okay. And of course, it also deals with the classic, like sort of technical support issues on like Hub and everything like that. And it's purpose built in there for you. In addition to that, we have a huge community that's already built into Hub, right? And so like, let's say like you didn't like what I had here, you can actually ask the community for a better answer, right? And then we can go ahead and like our whole entire team's going to be there. We're going to be able to sort of add information in there and sort of answer your question as well. And that trains the AI to be even better over time, right? So you have like basically like, think of it like an AI sort of associate built into the tool specifically for you to help you thrive at your craft, right? And sometimes, you may actually like these other questions that are sort of built in here for you, and you can see, what people say, right? So you can learn a ton. All this information is in here to sort of support you and be very, very successful at your craft, okay? There's a lot of other cool things that I can show you, like data rooms that we have in here, so you don't have to go in and buy DocSend and all this other stuff, so you can host your deck. We have an integrated form builder, so you can send forms to your portfolio companies or whatever to collect information. We have a full-on like event system built in here, so you don't have to go out and buy Eventbrite and stuff like that, right? And so, like there's this whole thing is, fully baked out and built, for, here's an example of an event fully built out. The entire stack is fully built out to sort of support all the functions that you have as a VC firm. Okay, so I'm going to stop right here. Not that I've sort of given you an overview, and I'm happy to go out and bring the demo back up on the screen. But I see that there's some questions coming in here. So if there's any questions that you have about what we're doing, about the product, about how it works, about how we build it, I think that's also pretty important as well, because for those of you that joined late, we build this with our community of venture capitalists, not for. I think at this point we have over 500 active firms in using this product, right? And so that's been how we sort of build out our product roadmap, right? So if you have questions, add them to the Q&A. Love to sort of answer any sort of questions that you have about anything. I see that there's a question from Angie. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. This sounds super productive for GPs, especially solo ones. Do you have any data as to how much the fund admin burden does this to save for GP? Like how much time do GP spend on the admin stuff using Desall Hub as opposed to without it? So, well, I don't have that data because we built this up until today. This has been exclusively only for people that are VC Lab alumni. And so we built this together with VC Lab alumni because we saw so many VC Lab alumni struggle with all these things. And so, they struggle with back office, that's like services, and that's a different kind of component, but they struggle with sort of just putting together an efficient stack, and they would just be super overwhelmed by it. Then they would struggle with getting information across all of these different things, like from like an LP that maybe it was considering investing, to getting them into like actual fund administration and to like actual reporting for that specific LP, because there's just all this missed information. Like, is this LP investing as a trust? Is this LP investing as an individual, right? And so like it was super hard for people to do this. People try to do this with like, I don't know, form builders, Notion pages and things like that. So forget the security stuff. Let's set that aside for a little bit. But just like doing that in itself is a big pain, right? And so I don't have the data. I just know that because we built this from first principles together with our community, it's about as efficient as it can get, right? It's been, most new people starting funds are solo GPs, right? And so you have to be able to do that, and you have to be able to operate like a Sequoia, even though you're a solo GP. That's always been our kind of emphasis here, because we're building enduring VC firms. So sorry for the long-winded answer. I don't have the data, but the product was custom built together with people just like you. I don't know, Travis, do you have any other insights about sort of how we develop and how we build product? Because obviously you're at the forefront of all this.
Yeah. In my career, I've been a part of some companies where you do a service for people and then they never want to talk to you again. They kind of like, hey, thanks for forming my last will. Now I don't want any more legal services. But in this case, every time that we do something, people want more and better. And they're always telling us it would be better if you did it this way, or it'd be nice if you had this feature. And for 3 years now, we've been building those features and we've been doing those things for those people. And so what you see here today is the result of years of people that have been in your shoes, that are launching funds, mostly as solo GPs, sometimes with a partner. And this is the process and the functionality that works for them. So, and we still do that today. We never stop. That is our daily routine, is to take feedback and make it better.
100%. What size fund is this targeted for, and how does this compare to sort of AngelList and Carta? Right now we built this with emerging managers, and most emerging managers tend to be run between 5 to sort of like, let's call it 40, 50 million. We have funds that are slightly bigger than that on this platform as well. And how does this compare with alternatives like AngelList and Carta? AngelList and Carta are not alternatives to what we just showed, right? What AngelList and Carta do is accounting and filings. Okay, that's it, right? What this is the entire sort of operating system for venture capital, right? Like all of the deals are integrated, all of your fundraising is integrated, purpose-built AI, purpose-built community, right? Compliance, treasury, all these things that are just like non-existent, which is why it's so hard for people to build institutional grade firms on both of the platforms that you sort of mentioned, right? And so it's a different approach, right? I think in the case of those folks, they're just trying to kind of focus on like one thing. We want to build kind of like the operating system that sort of touches everything here. And really, if I was to sort of summarize everything, it's what's the purpose of the company? So that's how I would sort of look at this. What's the purpose of the company? Because that you will see sort of how the product roadmap is influenced based on that, George. So our purpose, the reason we're here is because we want to help we want to help new and emerging managers build these incredible enduring venture capital firms. We want to help. We're in the firm success business, right? Versus like the firm operations business, right? Like for us, we want to align our model, our business model with people being super successful at their craft rather than just servicing them and making money because we're servicing people, right? And so so that on a high level, that's the big thing. And we only want to help people that believe in like the Mensarius Oath, that are doing this for a good reason, all this other stuff. And so it's just a different purpose altogether.
I'll take the next one.
Yeah, go.
So Sergio asks, what about data privacy on our deal flow and portcos? What data is being shared to Decile Group? Well, all the data that comes into our system is, of course, best practices stored encrypted at rest. Everything is fully separated between the different accounts. And if you read our privacy policy, you'll see that we will aggregate numbers so that we know what the usage of the platform looks like, but we never look at your data. We will never sell your data. That's not our business model. Our business model is not selling data. Our business model is helping you succeed as a firm.
Yeah, exactly. Again, if folks are working with us, for example, on the back office and operations, and they use our Desall Partners Fund Admin and operations offering, then yeah, they open up more of Hub so that our back office team can go in and actually, see, communicate with LPs, whatever we need to do, KYC and AML, those kinds of things. But if you're not, then you don't open that up and it's fine. All right. So it's you controls the information, not us. Right. Is this available if you were in a previous cohort? Yes, it is available if you were in a previous cohort. This is actually the first time we're releasing this to the public as well. As you can actually see, we put up an access code here for folks on this call if you want to test it out and play around with it. This is great. How much does it cost? It doesn't cost anything right now, James. That's not really yet our business model. I think that over time we'll release more monetization in the product itself for like special features, better AI, that kind of stuff. But that's not like right now imminent. Right now we're just more focused on building the absolute best sort of operating system for all of venture, because if you sort of if you're like kind of built this end-to-end kind of operating system, then we can sort of help the whole asset class, right? They'll help professionalize the whole asset class, right? The biggest issue that you're dealing with right now is that there's been a whole bunch of emerging managers that came before you that just did things really badly. And because they did things so badly, a lot of LPs are like really afraid to invest in them, right? And because the whole thing has just been kind of a cottage industry, it's just not professionalized. So our vision is I want to be able to professionalize the whole asset class and allow all sorts of LPs to safely, important word, safely, invest in some of these funds, because they know that they have top grade operations, top grade tools, top grade systems. They're running their firms like pros, not like kind of like a part-time hobby or something. And that's how we sort of unlock all of this other stuff, all the other opportunities to help managers scale.
I'll
Can
take
you just
the next one.
yeah, go for
Says,
it.
so Herman asks, can you adapt the pact and other templates to EU jurisdictions? The answer is yes, you can. You can change the language of the pact. There's a settings page for that, and you can make it say what you want. The pact, by definition, is a non-binding agreement to invest a sum at a certain point in time. And so you can change it to say what you like.
Correct. Correct. So if you're like in the EU, maybe you take out the standard Delaware language that's in there, that kind of stuff. But just remember, Herman, it's a non-binding letter of intent. What the pact does, and it's probably one of the biggest like innovations we've had, like from a fundraising perspective, is that it helps you figure out sort of who's real and who's not. Okay. And because of that, it allows for people to, it allows you to sort of focus on the right people. It also helps, it also actually makes it easier for you to convert people. There's been like lots of psychological studies built on all this, right? Where you just, if you have something that's kind of complex to sort of sign up for, like a fund, right? Which is lots of legal agreements and things like that. It's often better to ask them to do something smaller first. And if you do that, the probability you're going to get the bigger thing later is much higher, right? So it's sort of built in on this entire sort of psychological principle, which is why the pact is very useful. Okay. Andres says, could you elaborate on KYC features? Thanks. KYC and AML are done for folks that work with Desall partners only. Okay. It's not baked into the product yet because again, this is, for folks that we are running operations. And if you're working with any reputable fund administrator, which is again, you're dealing with all these other people that came before you that were emerging managers that did things badly. And a lot of the administrators just don't do this, right? Like Carta, email, it doesn't do it, right? Like unless you ask them, like AngelList, whatever, right? And so what you sort of want to do is, make sure that you work with a good back office provider that does the KYC and AML. And if you're not sure, you should just make sure you ask the back office provider for that. Okay. Is this available? When will this be available to the general public? Well, today, we have a code here, Carla, for folks. We've invited people that have been on the list, that have been on the waiting list for some time to join us here today. And so that we can sort of show you how it works and, go from there. Is it possible to generate a K1 report for LPs? Good question. So that's generally not how fund administration works. The way it works is as follows, okay? You submit all of your investments, you adopt a valuation policy, okay? And then what your back office accounting team does, right, is that it generates a set of financials that you're going to also share with your LPs, okay? And you're going to also share those financials to your tax firm, okay? You do not want your fund admin to do your taxes at the same time, okay? It creates a pretty serious conflict of interest, okay? And so any enduring VC firm will not do it like that, right? They'll have a back office fund admin, and then they have what's called a tax firm that's generating the K1s for all like LPs based on the information that the back office provider has provided them, okay? So that's how K1s get done, okay? This is, again, the difference between running a professional firm and running like an SPV on like a platform or something. On SPVs, the risk is not the same, right? Because LPs have invested in one company through this little vehicle and things like that. So when you're a professional money manager, you're managing lots of money, right? And they're trusting you to manage their money for like the next 20 years, right? And so you need to have the proper controls, both from an operations and a software perspective to do that. So the software does generate all of the reports that are necessary and pre-packages as those and allows you to send those to the tax firm, right? So one of the cool things that we do with our back office offering as well is that, as soon as the tax firm returns all of your taxes, right, all of your K1s, our team double checks them to ensure that there's no errors. This is super important. And then the AI is able to sort of figure out which K1 goes into which LP portal for which LP and is able to sort of put the right one in the right place and notify the LP that their K1s are ready. And then with Desall Pro, as soon as the LP comes into the product, they can go ahead and click a button and send that over to their tax firm. That way it's super safe, super secure, and you're not just like emailing around a bunch of stuff. So hopefully that's useful for folks here.
I'll take the next one.
Yeah.
So Kelly says, what is the onboarding implementation process like? This sounds like a dream once fully onboarded, but a bit of a lift to switch everything over. So I guess the answer to that depends on the stage of the fund that you're at. If you're just getting started and what you need to do is raise funds and get commitments and get packs for your fund that you're launching, it's as easy as signing up and starting to import your contacts and reaching out to them and running them through the fundraising CRM. Everything after that sort of flows onward. If you decide to use Decile Partners as your back office solution, we set everything up. It all just builds on top of each other over time, and it's very organic. If you already have a fund or multiple funds, it's a little more complex, but we've done those as well, and Mike can answer that better than me.
100%. So we have a migration team that basically onboards you and your team together into the product, right? And it's like little by little, like we start with a couple things, we start automating those things and so on until the whole team is sort of integrated. And look, we built this product from first principles, and we said, look, initially when new managers and emerging managers start, they're not going to be able to hire super high-end treasury folks on their team, or whatever the case may be. And so, we have a back office system that allows for that and sort of allows them to sort of get that on a fractional basis, okay? But we also understand that by the time these funds are going to be on Fund 4, they're going to want to hire a lot of those resources in-house, right? And we've onboarded funds before that already are at a scale where they have a lot of these resources in-house. And in that case, what happens is that our team starts training the folks that have built out the resources in-house to sort of integrate into it. So for example, like how do you do journal entries if you have an accountant, right? That's already working for your firm and is fully employed, right? And so that's how you sort of deal with that. Just wanted to let you know, there's actually a follow-up question here from Alejandro Travis on, can I manage several funds on the same platform, and does it have an LP portal? You might have joined late. I'm not sure if you saw this, but all of those are sort of a yes. So just really quick here, right? There's a little switcher here, so you can go ahead and manage as many firms and as many funds, or I should say, as many funds and SPVs as you want. This is fully built out. And the cool thing is that your LPs can get consolidated reporting. So, if once an LP goes into their LP portal, right? And let's say that they've invested in like, two of your funds and three of your SPVs, they're all on this kind of platform. They would see, you see how you see sample fund 1, you see sample fund 2 here, sample fund 3, sample fund 4, that kind of stuff already sort of pre-built into the entire kind of experience. And it's all sort of done in one place, right? Which is pretty cool, right? So hopefully this is useful for folks so that you can see that, okay? And does it help with compliance? Back office fund is great, but does it have? Yeah, and so yeah, like again, if you're working with us on the back office, yes, we do all the compliance and things like that. But generally, compliance is sort of done by like people, okay, that are sort of watching and making sure that things are done right. Now, there's things that we do as well. Like we sort of check, to make sure that like the legal agreements match the bank accounts. This is a huge problem right now. We do sanctions checks. This is again, huge problem right now with all the sanctions that are going on, right? But again, that's more like on your team, right? Like and that's, our partners back office team does all of that. It's all fully sort of integrated end to end through one point of contact. But if you already have a back office team, that's sort of kind of their responsibility, or you need to hire those resources in-house typically. I mean, like software can only take you so far with compliance, right? What if, something's discovered that the person is, from a sanctioned country? Like that's something you deal with over the phone, right? You don't take that all the way to the bank, right? Because otherwise it's going to cause a lot of issues for you down the line. Yeah.
Let's see here. So Tanya asks, is Desall Hub just for VC funds, or can it be used for PE and real estate funds? The answer is that the first principles of raising money are the same across all of those different kinds of funds, but Desall Hub is purpose built to help venture capitalists raise money manage their deal flow, and manage the back office. So if you want to just raise funds, then there's a lot of CRMs that you could use for that. Decile Hub would work great. But if you want to launch a venture capital firm, then Decile Hub is where you want to be.
Yeah, Tanya. So all of our R&D is for VC firms, and that's kind of how we think about this. And when you sort of think about like the way the capital account works, the way the accounting works, right? Like at the PE level, the accounting's fundamentally different just because you're trading positions in and out. It's much more complicated. Valuations policies are different. You're marking things to market, Monte Carlo simulations, all sorts of crazy stuff that just VC doesn't have to deal with. And so, that's just not yet on our roadmap. Right now we're focused on VC firms. That being said, Travis is right. Like everything else, the VC, the like with the exception of like I would say like the back office, that works pretty well. And we've had some non-traditional VC funds using the product for those purposes because it is pretty good for fundraising and for deal flow.
Yeah, we've even had some startup accelerators come on board and ask their portfolio companies to use Hub for fundraising, and PACs for that matter. And so the principles of fundraising are the same across, and we've got some great best practices for it. But it's not purpose built for anything other than raising a fund.
Okay, cool. Can you describe how cohort works? So the reason you're seeing people putting their cohorts, Patrick, is that many people went through one of our programs, like a VC Lab 10 or whatever the case may be. So that's why they're putting in. So if you join us in the accelerator, which is again designed to help you launch your firm and close your funds, that's why people are doing that. Let's see here. Can I see a global list of funds and the thesis here? No, you can't. Okay. That's private. That's always opt in by the fund themselves if they want to share stuff. And again, there's like potential like, risks of like general solicitation and a whole bunch of other things. Right. And so like, no. Does it support cap table management like Carta? No. Again, this is focused for VCs, right? You're going to have a cap table in your firm with all of your LPs. I showed you the list of capital accounts just now, but we're not doing cap tables for companies, and that's by itself almost an inherent conflict of interest for Carta, by the way, right? And so because what if the valuation is different versus what's different in your valuation policy, right? Like it's really complicated to do that right? So that's not an area that we're like really interested in and kind of pursuing right now. Can I also view active deals here, startups who are raising funds? This is a super interesting area. So right now, not right now. The way we're working on this, and we have several initiatives within Hub for private communities of investors, particularly the folks that we are powering, because we know that the folks that we are powering with, especially with the back office, are really, really strong. We've started creating communities and being able to sort of syndicate deal flow in between them through Hub. And we've had millions of dollars sort of co-invested into startups before, but we haven't rolled this out as an additional feature yet into Hub. But those are some of the things that we're sort of working on, right? As you can see, like we've got kind of like the operating system and it's running. The next logical step for us is marketplaces, right? One could be around, for lack of better words, right? Like one could be around companies, another one could be around people wanting to work at your fund, a bunch of other things, right? And so those are all initiatives we're pursuing right now, but we haven't rolled them out officially.
So Mehmet asks, can this be integrated on the main company website? As usually we see a login on VC firms for LPs. In a couple of different ways, you can integrate it into your website. And so Mike showed you Decile Pro a couple of times. You can put a link to Decile Pro from there. You can brand it with your own colors and your own branding. And so in a way, it's still run on decilepro.com, but you can easily link to it and brand it as if it was your own website. We also have some forms that you can embed into your own website, which will help you collect information from deals for deal flow. And so you can modify a form so that a startup can come to your website, click on the link, and fill out a form all about their company. and that will drop them directly into your deal flow pipeline along with all of that information that they filled out.
Exactly, right. So you have full blown, form functionality built into the product here. Let me just quickly show this. I don't want to like spend too much time on this because I see there's a lot of other questions, but you got full blown forms built in here, right? And you can do whatever you want, update these and things like that. You got a link here, you can send them, and all the stuff comes right back into like one unified place, one unified source of truth, right? Which is really awesome. There's a question here from, if Decile Hub needs to be onboarded for a regulated fund, what's the data security information stored within Decile Hub? We covered this earlier. There's also a privacy policy that you can read about how we're dealing with this, and it's your data. Basically, this is how you sort of want to think about this, and more info there as well. As for conversion rates, could the user view data statistics on successful steps towards raising a fund from numerous LP calls and things like that? Yes. So what we're doing is, let me see here. Let me see if I can give you some information here. So I know that we show kind of a lot of stuff, so this might have been easier, might have been like sort of missed here, but we are looking at information here, and we are helping you sort of find all this information as well, right? So we are collecting statistics on this. When you sort of set up your stages, okay, you can also start thinking about like what probability you sort of want to set here as well. See, so as soon as you get the meeting at this, you can set the probability now to 5%. This is sort of automated, so you can sort of program this to however you want. It's like got a lot of flexibility. I just didn't want to overwhelm people with all sorts of like feature stuff. But yes, you can create that and set up your own stats and metrics and things like that. Okay.
Sorry, I was muted. Ryan says the sign-up process for Desall requires a fund website. Will this be required in the future? Actually, it's not required now. You don't need to enter in a website. You can enter in a subdomain that we will use to personalize Hub for you. And you can upload a logo if you want to. You can use placeholders for both of those things so that you can update it in the future. So you do not need a website in order to sign up for Hub.
Yeah, perfect. There's a question here from Alejandro. Is there a way for LPs to filter difference from the LP deal flow from the LP portal? So Alejandro, that's not a use case that's common or important for VC funds in general, right? Because again, LPs are investing in your fund to manage their investments. They're not, it's not like an SPV. It's not deal by deal. Okay. Now, if you are doing SPVs, like I showed you, you can list all the SPVs that they're in, right? But this is not like an SPV product. Okay. This is for people that are launching these like enduring VC firms, and they're the ones that are managing the money. So generally, LPs saying, here's my money, trust me with I'm going to trust you with this. You're going to perform like this. And then when you provide them with reports, whether it's quarterly or yearly, okay, they're gonna list all the companies that you've invested in, so they know, right? You're also going to provide reporting where you're going to talk about the companies and things like that. You might host your own LP events where you're going to discuss every single one of those companies. But again, it's not really a use case, right? To sort of want to see deal by deal kind of stuff. If you have pro rata or follow-on opportunities that you want to market that to your LPs after you've invested it with the fund via an SPV, then by all means, sure, you can use the LP portal to sort of drive people there if you need to. But the better way to do it is to use the packed landing page that we sort of showed you, get them to sort of commit. Now you fill the SPV, now the SPV is done and all the reporting's done through the process. And yes, all the metrics are there, because every report that you upload is going to be there as well for the LPs to sort of see. Okay. Is there, looks like we're doing pretty well on time. Everyone, we have about 10 minutes left. If you have final questions, get them in now. I see there's like one more question in here. And then, we can wrap after that. Is there an option to see investors' profile and look at their focus area and thesis subsequently connecting with them? Not right now. Okay. I hope that what you're seeing from the approach and at least the things that we're saying here is that we're trying to be very thoughtful about doing this. Okay. This has to get done right. Most of this industry has been basically a cottage industry for like 30 to 40 years because a lot of people didn't do things right, didn't think about the consequences of things. And that's how we ended up here. And for all the emerging managers that are on this call, you're sort of more or less paying the price for this, right? Like a lot of LPs don't trust you because of what your predecessors did. Okay. So this has to be done right, right? There's a lot of privacy implications that are here. There needs to be a certain quality filter. We need to ensure that you are a super ethical investor that's going to treat startups really, really well. If I'm going to go ahead and sort of introduce you to other people in the community. And so right now we sort of have a very natural quality filter built in. Okay. And why do we say quality? The company's called Decile, right? Top 10%. So this is all about quality. We're not really worried about volume here. We have an accelerator. We see 3,000 new managers start funds every single quarter. Okay. We allow roughly about 300 to get into the accelerator. About 50 are able to make it through the accelerator because the accelerator is super hard. And 10 to 15 are able to apply and actually get accepted into Desall partners or back office offerings. So like the best of the best of the best, right? And so now we have sort of like this, this quality filter on GPs. Yeah, we're doing a lot of stuff like that there because I know that there's a trust area. I know that things are working really well, but you can't just open this up to like the whole world and be like, here's like a whole bunch of managers. I don't know who you are, man. Like, I don't know if you're like a good person or not, right? I don't know if you're going to treat people well, right? Like, I don't know a lot of stuff about you. And so we want to do this right. We don't care about like kind of getting to scale and doing this the wrong way. We're trying to scale responsibly here. So hopefully that helps.
So Xing follows up a question that says, it seems the access code works when the user hasn't signed up before, but users who have signed up are on the waiting list. So Xing, if you have signed up before, just use the same email address and password that you signed up with before, and you can log into your existing account. You'll get all of the latest stuff that we showed you today. If you want to sign up for a brand new account and kind of start from scratch, then just sign up with a different email address and your access code will work.
Awesome. Alejandro says I have so many questions. Yeah, I know, man.
I
All
can
good, dude.
take that
That's
one.
what we're
Yeah.
here though, right? Like I'm trying to sort of help people understand and how to build enduring VC firms.
So Alejandro, we are extremely responsive. Use the code, sign up for Hub, play around with it a little bit, and then hop into Base and ask questions. We'll answer them all for you. Base will probably answer most of them for you before we even need to get involved.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So really quick, like let's say you had you can ask a question here, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Let's say I picked one from here from the stuff. Okay, I don't like this answer, right? Ask a follow-up question, right? You can do that here and you can talk with the AI. But the best thing you can ask the community, right? So if I ask a question to the community here, all of us are in here. Like our whole entire team is in here. So if you put the question in here, we can answer it. And if in some cases it makes sense to jump on a call, we'll do that too, but like this is good and it trains the whole system and the community as well, because I'm pretty confident that the questions you've had I've probably answered a lot before, right? And so like that just helps us get better and better and help everybody get better and better as a result. Okay. So, use the community. This is a very community driven product. Venture capital is a community-based kind of process, and it's a network business. So that's what it is. Would this work for onboarding and managing SPVs? Yeah, it would. We've done that. But just really quickly on SPVs, like SPVs are a super shitty business, okay? Like most of the SPV providers are failing and are gonna fail. And so that's not generally a business that we generally want to enter in with our back office stuff unless we're already powering your fund and you're building like an enduring VC firm, and then we sort of add it as like a like a nice add-on. But it's a terrible business, guys. This is why all of them have failed. This is why Assure has failed. I mean, most of these fund admin providers in SPV world are going to probably not make it, right? So just want to put it out there. With this profit, we're seeing for emerging managers, if they wish to transition from their current administration platform like Card.net, et cetera. Yes, but we have to go through a process, Abdi, where we do a scoping call, because we need to understand exactly what's going on in your fund and if what we do works with what you're doing. So with every migration, and if anyone tells you otherwise, you should run, by the way. So like whether you work with us or not, I don't care. But like you always need to spend time and do a scoping call with us. Okay. And if by doing a scoping call with us, we'll tell you if we can help you or not. And if we can help you, what does the process look like? We have done a lot of migrations in the last quarter because a lot of people, like you mentioned, want to kind of get off Carta right now, and a whole bunch of other fund admins providers for lots of reasons. But we also want to make sure that we can provide the right experience. So, if you have questions about that or would like to sort of arrange that, we have a gentleman. His name is Matt. Matt at desallgroup.com. You can go ahead and email him directly. Maybe we can put that email into the chat for Abhi, and then you guys could just get on a call and sort of figure this out, right? So just email Matt here, and then you guys can figure it out from there.
So Andreas asks, who's part of the community of Decile Base? Basically, if you have a hub account, you can access Decile Base. We have some private community channels that are for clients and for special programs that we run that you wouldn't have access to because they're private. But basically, once you're on Hub, you have access to all of the power of Decile Base. You can ask it any questions that you want to, any follow-up questions, post new questions, and somebody from our team or somebody from the community will hop in and answer you.
Can I have more than one active fund under your yeah, JR. You can have lots of funds. I mean that, if you're going to build an enduring VC firm, which is what we're trying to help you do, you're going to have lots of funds under management. So we built the technology from the beginning to allow you to support that. So 100%, always. And if you have ideas, questions, thoughts, this is also why Base is super useful, right? Because the whole entire engineering team, Travis, they're all in there, and that's how we build. We built together with you. So hopefully you've learned a little bit about kind of VC operations. Hopefully you like what you see. If it's interesting to you, we have a code. Please sign up. And as always, we do these webinars all the time, and just continue to come. We want to sort of educate people on kind of what we see in the world. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you taking the time. This was really amazing. Travis, appreciate you coming.
Thanks, everybody. See
Bye,
ya.
everyone. Bye.